Play this record as frequently as possible.
Folks, some of you may remember a video that at this point was kind of a while ago. It was called Thomas Merch You've Probably Never Heard Of. And one of the penultimate items in that video was the IR Thomas Set, or the Micro IR Thomas Set. Something I had never really seen before. It only existed to me through that wiki article. I mean, besides that article, I could never find it. There was never any eBay listings, no videos of it. It seemed like nobody had seen this set before. Or that was until my good friend Korn found it for me and decided, just look, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe we're talking about, this is a review we're actually going to do today. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, your eyes do not deceive you. All thanks to my good friend Korn again. We are reviewing and have in the collection the Micro IR Thomas and Friends set, made by Konami, or that's not where it is, where's it at? Oh, here at the top, made by Konami. Just one of the most strange and weird Thomas and Friends sets I've ever seen. As you can see here, we have a little RC Thomas, little RC Percy, we have a little consist for them both, Annie and Clarabelle, Troublesome Trucks. Before we get into that, though, I think we have to talk about this box, because it's a little sun-faded, but this is just absolutely beautiful. Okay, so starting with the front here, as you can see, we have little windows that, again, show you the engines and the stuff they're pulling. We have little remotes here as well, which I believe are what power the locomotives. A large image here that shows you the entire set, and I believe that's probably, like, what, Season 5? I don't know, a picture of Percy and Thomas there at the front. If you go to the sides here, well, it kind of just shows you, again, how the set works. There we have the remote powering Thomas. That shows you how the magnets bring the set together, or couple the sets together. And here we have this just feels so remnant of like a Kato box or something like that. Here we have the entire set laid out again in a bigger picture. Here we have a little parts list. And over here on this side, I imagine there's warnings or stuff like that. Kind of boring, but again, just look at that. You can't tell me that doesn't look exactly like, I don't know, Atomic set or a Kato set. And here's the other side, which just shows you Thomas and Percy, or I believe they're prototype Rangers. Oh, and another thing that I think's pretty cool is the bottom here. And this is what shows you what was going to become of the Micro R line. They were going to make James, Gordon, Henry, Edward. Sadly, they never did. The only thing that exists through the Micro IR Thomas line is Thomas and Percy. Kind of a shame, but you know, I didn't think I'd have either of them to begin with. I didn't know these existed. But whatever, it's here. This thing has been in box. This is literal plastic. Original plastic. This has been just probably sitting somewhere in Japan since, like, I don't know, 2004. I think this was made in 2004. And it's, I don't know, my mind is being blown right. I never thought I'd be able to take a look at these things, but here we are. All right, but with all that being said, I know this is going to hurt some people. We're going to have to open this thing. I have to open this thing up. I have to take a look at the Thomas. I have to see the Percy. For the sake of transparency, this thing has been opened before. Korn did open it up. He let me know one of the engines, sadly, does need some work. That being Percy, he, didn't really do well in the test runs, but whatever. Everything else besides that, mint. The paper craft stations here, mint. He even did the little plastic backup for me. Just, again, so kind. It's plastic. I'm going to be as careful as I can here. I do not want to mess this up in any capacity. All right, that should be, oh, one more piece. Okay, I might have messed it up. Pretend you didn't see that. Alright, that aside, let's get to this box. It even has a little handle here at the top. I don't think I showed that off yet. Look at this. Okay, so, try not to stress this box out if I can help it. Oh my goodness. Wow. Holy, okay. I know I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. This is so mind-blowing. Okay, so we have here, if it's not going to all fall out, there we go. Here's the set. We can see the track here. We've got Percy. You better look at a ST Ruffian, that troublesome truck. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Like, let me see if this isn't going to fall. Let me get a play rail Thomas real quick. All right, we got the angry play rail Thomas. It's like, these are like less than half the size of a traditional play rail. I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. That's a little neat to me. Wow. We got the little switch tracks, as you can see there. Here we got some curves, some straights. Yeah, that should be all in terms of that. Let's take a look over here. Alright, looks like we got a little bit of a... So, the Micro IR range does have other things, as you can see there, like bullet trains, you know, other Japanese trains. I believe they may have even made a steam engine at some point. I could be wrong there. I'm not really too familiar with it. But this kind of explains to you how to use it, stuff like that. And this, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have the original paper crafts that make the two stations in this set. Holy crap. And look at that. Look at this instruction booklet. That looks so... Okay, we have to take a look at that too. Now, ultimately, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of undecided on whether or not I want to build the paper crafts. I think it'd be very fun. I really do like building paper crafts, but this is a very classic set. You know, run the chance of messing them up or something like that. I might not in this video, but, you know, maybe we'll have an update video one day where I talk about it and show off. Maybe I'll make it a short or something like that. That aside, though, let's take a look at this booklet here, or instructions. All right, so the back here, again, shows you the train set. The front, the same picture of Thomas and Percy, but a little bit larger. You can see the full thing. And, yeah, this is, I assume, just instructions on how to power everything. So, yeah, here's a little bit of an inventory list. The batteries you need to put in the remotes. Yeah, different ways to set up the set, how to couple everything together. Not anything too crazy, really, but to be... Oh, look at that. Look at that little picture of Thomas. Yeah, overall, still pretty cute. You just don't see stuff like this nowadays. This is so cool. I cannot believe I got my hands on this. Oh my god. I'm gonna keep saying that, because this blows my mind. Alright, with all that being said, let's do a bit of a top-down view now. Let's take a look at everything we get in this set. So... Alright, again, here we got the straight pieces. You know, really not too detailed to track, but it does... I don't know, that looks pretty good if you ask me. We got 2 stacks of that, as you can see. We got the curves here in the back, and 4 different turnouts. This should make a pretty big set, all things considered. And the penultimate, at least for me. Let's take a look at these engines. So here is Thomas. Oh my god. Okay, so we have no stickers, anything like that. This is all molded detail. Look at that face. Wait, maybe they're at the front of the cab for the whistles and the front porthole windows. But besides, look at that. Look at that face. Look at the little lamp. He even has a white running board. See, here says 2004 Ghislaine Thomas Limited there at the back. It's got a nice little lamp. I gotta say it again. Look at that face. That is just not something you see nowadays. And let's look here at the bottom. Okay, so... The wheels, as you may have expected, do not turn. These are a molded or a piece of the body. Here are the wheels there at the bottom, and it looks like it's kind of just 4 little wheels that should follow the track as he goes. Nothing really too complicated. Yeah, just a very small RC Thomas. Pretty freaking cool. All right, let's put that aside. Here we have Annie. You know, a little bit fatter than I expected. So where Thomas has molded wheels here on the side, and, you know, the body's a little bit more filled out, Annie is not that same way, and I assume Clarabelle probably is not either. Yeah, at least they have different faces. Clarabelle has a smile, Annie has that classic sad or surprised face. And not really crazy detailing on the chassis, as you can see. I mean, they do have molded axle boxes, but again, nothing really too out of the ordinary, I assume. They just feel kind of fat, but truth be told, they do still look pretty good. At least they have different faces. That's more than like Bachmann in scale, you know what I'm saying? And now for the guy I was really excited about. Oh my god, we have Percy. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that tank. He's so fat, but in a good way. Alright, so there's that classic face. That looks absolutely amazing. I'm sorry, this is so neat. What's also really cool is if you look here at the pistons. So Percy in the show, or the prop, had pistons that kind of, you know, went upwards a little bit. They even emulated that on this tiny train. Is that not just so cool? I don't know. That's just, the fact that they paid attention to that much detail. Just like Thomas, he says 2004 Ghislaine there at the back. I mean, not crazy detailing, but the 6 looks amazing. He does have molded stripes there. This is just so neat. I mean, they paid a lot of attention, as you can see. Again, look at the chassis. They paid a lot of attention to the right things. I mean, he might have a goofy boiler, but that is likely to accommodate the chassis that he runs on. That's pretty much... I mean, from the looks of things, it's pretty much identical to Thomas, just, again, well, the molded plastic where Thomas has blue and Percy has green. Sadly, though, Percy didn't seem to work when Corna opened him up and did some testing on this set. I'm not giving up on him, though. This is not an engine I plan to give up on. So let me do a little bit of magic whenever we get to that part of the video. And for now, let's move on to the troublesome trucks. All right, SC Ruffy, or Scruffy. Look at that face. Okay, I'm not going to lie. The face is a little bit goofy, albeit accurate. It's very accurate. I think I figured it out. These things don't have buffer beams, and that's what it is. That just throws pretty much all the rolling stock off quite a bit. No buffers, really nothing except the upper body, sitting on a chassis. That being said, for what they did, again, the face may be a little cursed. That's pretty spot on to SC Ruffy. A very nice ballast load, or a stone load, here at the top. And just take a look at the lettering there on the side. SC Ruffy & Co., Ballast Contractors, Tidmouth, Sodor. It's all very legible. It looks very good. I do like the rusted or a brown, well, accenting that Scruffy's pretty iconic for. pretty good, all things considered. It's just got that sad, you know, lack of buffer beam and chassis detail like every other piece of rolling stock here, but I'm not going to complain too much. Yeah, pretty much the same with this troublesome truck, but, you know, again, all things considered, still looks pretty good. That's an amazing face. That is a really, really nice log load, as you can see in there. I mean, it's got painted ends and just, you know, molding to it. Basic, but, you know, it's still pretty neat. I can't complain at really any of this. And let's take a look here at these remotes. So, yeah, really not much to them here. You can see Thomas's here, you can see Percy's. Now looking at the buttons, I assume this is probably backwards, this is stop, this is forwards, and this is go forwards a little faster, maybe. I initially thought maybe, like, these were sounds or something like that, or just different things that Thomas and Percy could do. Doesn't really look like it. This just kind of looks like a speed control. But to be fair, it does. But look at that little picture of Percy there. Look at that picture of Thomas. They nailed it. At least it's adorable. And this is, I believe these take 2 AAA batteries, and Thomas and Percy, maybe 1? All right, let's open them up. Let's take a look. We'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. Again, through testing, we know Thomas works, so I guess we'll start with him real quick. Pop open this back controller. Yep, 2 AAAs. Pop 1 here. And after looking through the booklet here, it doesn't look like the engines actually need batteries. There's just this little white switch here that you kind of press, and that should... Oh my god. Oh my god. We have a tiny RC Thomas, ladies. This is all I ever wanted as a kid. Like, this was the one thing I wanted from, like, any range. Just a tiny RC Thomas with some pretty cool freaking track and, like, different friends I could play with, like Percy. This is just a dream come true. Are you kidding me right now? And let's see here. Forward. Yep, stop backwards. And is this, like, super forwards? It appears to be. He just went under the box. Come back out. And there he is. Ladies and gentlemen. Is this not one of the coolest Thomas toys you have ever seen? And this is the game that I know of. This is the only video that exists of this Thomas train set, which is criminal. Like, the fact that there's not more of these things, or the fact that this wasn't kept on or replicated or just in any other way. You know what I'm trying to say? We got cheated. That's really it. We got cheated. Alrighty, folks. So after some investigation, it does turn out Thomas and Percy both do run on batteries. Some very different ones. CR2, as you can see here, and I've got 2 brand new ones. The one Percy had was kind of, yeah, if you let a battery sit for 20 years, it normally doesn't have great results. So hopefully to fix that, I've cleaned out not only the entire motor, but all the contacts here on the battery connector, and got some new batteries. So let's just pop them in and see what it does for Percy here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Thomas is working again, but I'll probably still do the same for him, just because it's probably good practice to make sure there's something new in there, and to keep him running for as long as I can. Hit the front of this battery back on. And okay, that should be a complete new battery inside of Percy. Pop this back into place, and there's a little plate here on the bottom that kind of just fits like so. Boom, and then you screw it right back into place. Right, there we go. And to get these things to operate is a little bit unique. So this will be the moment of truth. There's this little white switch here, or a button on the bottom. And when you press that, there should be a little bit of movement here in the motor. And let's... Are you freaking kidding? All right, get the controller right now. Let's see. Let's see. We freaking did. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a working Percy. All it took was one of these new weird CR2 batteries. A battery I've never even seen before or ever heard of, but thank God I have now. Because now we have this is just the coolest Percy toy I think I've ever owned in my entire life. Oh my god. Alright, now we get to build the train set. It's done. Let's go. It's time. It's time. This is way more satisfying than it should be. Like, look at the way it connects. This is just so... I feel like I'm playing with Geo Tracks again. This is so nice. And... Ladies and gentlemen, minus the paper crafts, that looks like a complete micro IR train set. Oh my god, this is okay. Oh boy. So we know how everything works. We now know that everything does work. Ladies and gentlemen, I think with all that being said, the only thing left to do is just finally see this thing in action. So let me clean up the table a little bit. I still feel bad about not doing the paper crafts, but that, again, we might see that later in the video or in like a short or something like that. And let's get ourselves to a very, very long overdue running session, I think. Okay, really quick, I wanted to take a second to talk about these switches, or how exactly they work, or the complete lack thereof. So, as you can see here, they don't really have anything to switch the track. It doesn't really determine... What determines what direction the trains go really is direction. So here we have Percy, and if we send him forward, as you can see, he kind of just goes straight. Same, you know, with back. That's really all it is. There's nothing to really throw him that way, except for chance. So, like, if he's already going this way, he will, but if he just goes straight through the switch, that's about it. To make him come from this track, all he has to do is come from the opposite side, like so. Okay, so here we are on the opposite side, and here comes Percy. Boom, and so yeah, pretty much if he's coming at the switch straight, he's going to go that direction, because if he continues back down this way, he ends up right here, and I'll show you that real quick too. There he goes. Yeah, sadly not the most complex thing. It's really not a switch at all. It's just kind of really a directional track. That's the best thing you can call it. It's a directional track more than it is a actual switch. But yeah, there's that. And now let's get to some actual running footage. Ladies and gentlemen, I just don't even know what to say at this point. This is just such... I mean, the fact that we're even doing this review is just something that's mind-blowing alone to me. But it's also something, again, and I said this before in the video, that I've always wanted from a brand. You know, with Trackmaster, I always loved the RC trains because it's so cool to have one that you can operate independently. But a range that's pretty much just that. I don't know. And again, they're very nice trains, and this is very nice track. And I mean, the rolling stock could be better. I mean, that's probably my biggest criticism, is that they don't have buffer beams and look a little bit wonky. And the fact that we didn't get James and Gordon and Henry and Edward and all that stuff. But is this just not so cool? If I had to rate it, like from 1 to 10, fucking 50. This is like again, just the cool, this is everything I've ever wanted from a Thomas range. The only thing I can really say I hate is that we only ever got Thomas and Percy, and we're promised all these other guys, and Bill and Ben, and Cranky, and all. Just look at the wiki page. And to get huge shout out and thank you to my good friend Corn for allowing this to even be a review. Literally, he just let me trade some Play-Rail and Tomy items for this, and I have the ultimate item in my collection now. I don't know, it still kept it new in box and everything. It's just so kind. Thank you so much again to him, and just you guys for watching, I guess. The fact that we even made it this far. That original video has over 100,000 views. That's ridiculous. And look at us now. We freaking got it. We got at least one of those items on that list. We got it. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for watching. I have some trains to play with, so with all that being said, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Jesus Christ, he's so cool. Look at him, he's so cute.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.
Bye-bye. See you soon.
Like, he's just always in his own world. He really quiet for real unless he know you. He funny as hell, though, but if he know you type shit, you know what I'm saying?